The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast. Join us around the pit as we talk all things barbecue. Now here is your host, Johnnie Mags.
What's up, everybody? Coming to you live from the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe in Salem, New Hampshire. Welcome to another episode of the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast. I'm Johnnie Mags.
Yeah?
Oh, you don't sound like Chrissy.
No.
Hi, Ed.
People may remember me from the past. Chrissy got called away to Australia, so I am filling in today.
Good to have you, brother. How you been?
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I've been really excited to follow the progress of your smoker. I've been keeping an eye on you.
Oh, she's a thing of beauty. Thing of beauty.
I love the color, too.
Mom's favorite color. So, Claudia made sure of that. She goes, I don't care what you painted as long as it's a shade of purple. So he went to the 70s Dodge, 70s Mopar, the plum crazy purple.
Plum crazy. That's a good color.
Yeah.
It means it's a fast smoker then, right?
I'll put it this way, it's effortless, that's for sure.
That's nice.
That's for sure. What's up, Dutch, Junior? What's happening, Chapin? Gray, what's going on? Oh, we got a great episode. I'm excited today. So let's get right into this. Today's episode is brought to you by Uncle Steve Shake. You ever wonder why when your neighbor's having a barbecue, there's a line of people waiting to get into his backyard, but when you have a barbecue, nobody's coming? It's because your neighbor is using Uncle Steve's Shake and you're not. Uncle Steve has an incredible line of 12 amazing flavors, including the competition line, the dessert shake, which is absolutely heavenly. He uses the freshest of ingredients in all his batches and always fresh. Great customer service. He is the one who answers the phone if you call, or he will actually reach out to you if he has any questions on any of your orders. So check him out at UncleStevesShake.com and check out his Facebook group, Uncle Steve's Shake Nation. Uncle Steve Shake. Shake some on everything. Also brought to you by Two Guys Smoke Shop and TwoGuysCigars.com. Whether I'm barbecuing or not, I always keep the smoke rolling thanks to my friends at TwoGuysCigars.com. Today I am smoking the Artista Paperboy. $3 cigar? Seriously?
$3 cigar. They come in packs of 8 wrapped in newspaper, hence the name.
You have the name.
For about $24.
This reminds me of the 724 Dog Walker.
Exactly. It's almost exactly the same size.
Yeah.
So it's a great dog walking cigar or wintertime when it's cold outside and you can't spend a lot of outdoor time.
Yeah. This is great. This is great. But thanks to my friends at TwoGuysCigars.com, I get to smoke some of the best cigars in the world, and so can you. Just visit TwoGuysCigars.com for your perfect barbecue companion. That's the number 2, GuyCigars.com. Also brought to you by Backline Smokers, Backline Fabrication. All I can say is Ryan has outdone himself. I did a giant cook on Sunday. Pork butt, leg of lamb, top rounds, whole chickens.
One of everything.
One of everything. And it was absolutely effortless. The temperature stays great, drops very minimal working on it once you got it dialed in. But Ryan builds incredible one-of pits right out of Austin, Texas.
Beautiful looking, too. Mine functional. It's gorgeous.
Functional, gorgeous. We had conversations through the past, and he added these little things that I would, hey, you might, update it this way or change this a little bit, or this would be a great idea. And then he just added stuff like the grill, the rotisserie, all that stuff. But check him out at Backline Fabrication and Backline Smokers on all social medias. Backline Fabrication, build what you want, not what you need. Also brought to you by Magna Chef Gloves. Our brother Alan Fonte knows a little something about fire management, seeing he's a Miami-Dade firefighter. He came with these gloves a few years back, the original Magna Chef, unbelievable gloves, food-grade silicone, patented magnetic clips for an easy on and off. Right back in, heat rated up to 500 degrees. The web fit for a firm grip. One size fits all, dishwasher safe, but he did not stop there. Obviously, you got your wrists covered, but your forearms.
Yeah.
So here comes the Freedom Gloves. Same as the Magna Chef, magnetic clip, but these are your traditional 5-finger neoprene gloves.
Right.
So if you have that instead of the Dr. Spock web fit, you got the 5 fingers, but you have the extra long gauntlet to protect the forearms. And these heat rated 932 degrees.
That's a lot of degrees.
When we were in Austin, we had both these and the Magna Chefs holding the charcoal basket with a rip-roaring fire in it.
Nice.
Not a flinch. Not a flinch. Absolutely fantastic. So check them out at magnachef.com, and at checkout, use code ROYAL21 for 15% off your order. That's ROYAL21 for 15% off your order. Magna Chef gloves, master the fire. Freedom gloves, take a stand, free your hands. Also brought to you by Custom Cutting Boards, RS.com. My brother Ian Hemming is building what I consider the Yeti of cutting boards. These boards take an absolute beating.
Incredible. I've got the dishwasher one.
Yep.
I use it all the time in my kitchen.
Yeah, same here, which is the dishwasher board is your standard countertop board. Then he has the absolute massive brisket board, 18 by 36 inches. And then the new pizza board for that perfect slice every time. Check them out at customcuttingboardsrus.com. That is the letter R, us.com. So I'm excited today. We joined our dear friend, Mr. Jonathan Carney from La Flor Dominicana Cigars. Had spoken very highly of this company. And, Jonathan lives part-time down in Miami.
Yep.
And then when he spends the time up here in New England. But he has a go-to shop down there for all his meats, he said. It was this shop he found called Meat and Bone. Huh. A few weeks ago, I received an email from said company and went, oh, I know you. And I know of your pictures and your props. I already felt like we've been friends for years after how Jonathan talked to him. So I'm wonderfully excited to be joined by co-owner of Meat and Bone, Mr. Gabriel Llaurado. What's up, brother?
Hey, Johnny. Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
It's a pleasure. Thank you guys for reaching out. I was excited. I'm like, oh, this is great. This will be great. I got so many questions. So first, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I think, it's funny how the connection was made with Carney. He's a great friend. And I'm a big fan of the brand. I smoke a lot of the cigars. So happy to be with you here as well.
Awesome. So Gabriel, first off, tell us a little about you and how you came into creating Meat and Bone.
So the first thing is, why the hell are we doing this out of Miami, right? So it was originally because me and my two best friends, we had gone out to college, work outside of Miami. We were raised here, but when we came back, there was absolutely no real quality as far as meat and beef goes. So we found ourselves in a position where we're like, we should do this, right? We should research and we should find really good stuff that we can get here. Right before moving back to Miami, I was living in New York, and you really can go anywhere in Jersey or New York and get anything out of any butcher shop, and just phenomenal stuff that you wouldn't be able to find in Miami. So we sat down and decided to draft a business plan, and we said, look, we should do this. Let's try to do it online. We basically took our own money, and we started doing deliveries in the Miami area. A few months later, we were like, oh shit, we're onto something here. So we expanded. We started doing shipping, and we expanded our lineup. So funny thing about it. My two partners and best friends. One is the finance guy, so he's the one that runs the strategy and the numbers. The other one went to culinary school, so he's the one that really helps us figure out the sourcing, the quality, and the consistency, right? And I'm a computer scientist. I like to eat. So I was sort of the one part where scaling our business and making sure that we could provide an experience that customers can connect, and one of the things that I think it's key is the fact that if you ever buy meats online, you might be looking at a picture of a ribeye, and by the time that you get it, it looks very different. Packaging is, 8 out of 10 can be very shitty. That's a reality. So we went for making that right. We said, look, we're gonna take pictures that are humane, pictures that people can say and can look at and say, okay, that looks like a ribeye. And by the time they get it, it's probably even better than the picture that they saw. We're not using stock pictures. We're using our own stuff from our own products. So, it's been a wild ride. We've had a lot of fun, but we do ship all over the nation. We've had an amazing client base, an incredible lineup. We sell more than 25 different types of ribeye. We sell suckling pigs. We started importing suckling pigs from Spain. We import ribs from Spain. So if you're into smoking ribs, you can actually get Iberico pork ribs from us. We dry age, and our dry age program is amazing. Garni is actually a huge fan of our dry age, and but 2 years ago we started doing experiments with spirits. So we actually have a ribeye that we dry age and infuse with rum for periods of 60 days.
Oh,
It is fire,
wow.
brother. Amazing, yeah. So the kind of stuff that you're gonna find at Meat and Bone is that an extensive lineup of just really really amazing stuff that most likely was not available for to consumers,
Yeah.
but maybe to, like, very high end restaurants, or if you find them, the provider might lock you down to buy a minimum or something that's not properly butchered, but whole pieces of things. We actually cut that down into steaks. We vacuum seal everything. And the idea behind it is you get something amazing, easy to, I don't want to say cook, but at least easy for you to manage, and have fun with it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because looking, first off, your social media presence on, between Facebook and Instagram is incredible.
Thank you.
The pictures of the prepared meats, it matches the quality of the pictures match the quality of the meats that you're selling. 100% on that.
Yeah.
And if you go onto your website, obviously you can see what you guys have, and it is, a real easy website to travel. It's broken down beef, poultry, fish, all that. But each one has a beautiful picture of the product. So a ribeye, it's just not just like any other website you might go to, and it shows a picture of a ribeye steak. No, you guys have the nice, beautiful wood background that it's sitting on, and a couple little things to liven up the picture. So it really brings the color of the ribeye, even the marbling stands out in the pictures. So whoever's doing your photos, hats off, kudos to them because it is fantastic. And what I also liked on it is, so with meat these days, it's all about the ratings or certifications,
Right.
be it, prime, choice, select, Wagyu, and then you get into the Wagyu and you get all the alphabet and numbers thrown at you, the A5, the A9, this, that, and you guys have that also of, if it's a Wagyu brand, it says, Wagyu right there, but you also have someone I found very interesting. You tell the BMS scale, which is the beef marbling scale, and the numbers there. What led you guys down that road to incorporate that for each cut you have?
So that's actually the best question I've had in a while. The reality is, when we started digging into Wagyu, for example, and this is where us as customers can sometimes be screwed up, because it's to be honest, it's just a word. It's used to represent or to reference to the Japanese cows that yield a higher marbling that you can find on Western cows like Hereford and even like Holsteins, which is a dairy cow. And the reality behind it is there's different levels of what Wagyu really is. It comes down to best practices, the lineage and the heritage of the cow, and how they're being taken care of. Even the altitude will play a factor on what sort of quality you'll get from a Wagyu cow. So Wagyu means Japanese cow. It's a literal Japanese word for it, and the BMS stands for beef marbling score. So basically, you have the U.S. rating system goes from USDA Select all the way to USDA Prime, right? So essentially, what happens is the USDA auditor comes into the farm or the processing plant, and then they basically give a grading based on, I believe it's a 12 rib on the ribeye. They basically take that out and they say, well, this has a marbling score of X, Y, and Z. And they only say this is going to be USDA choice, and then this is going to be USDA prime. However, if you go into details, there's different levels of USDA choice and USDA prime. So there are places where you can find high grade choice, which is marbled beautifully, almost like prime. But yes, it was considered to be USDA choice. With Wagyu, it's a little bit different because the USDA does not regulate Wagyu, and we do have Wagyu cows in America. There are farms in Colorado, Texas, and Nebraska that are raising this cattle for years. There's a backstory to this. In the 90s, about 270 cows left Japan into the U.S., and that's where that lineage comes in. And you can get pretty high marbling scores on these domestic cows, but usually the higher or the highest marbling scores comes from farms in Japan. So Japan, the grading system goes from A1 all the way to A5. So that's when you were referring to, like, hey, you guys have like A5 and all this. Basically, the highest of the marbling score grading system goes from BMS 10 to BMS 12, which is translated in the Japanese scale to A5. So anything that's between BMS with anything that has a marbling score of 10 to 12, that's basically an A5 on the Japanese grading
Okay.
scale. However, you will experience different. You will have a different experience based on the marbling score, and depending on the steak as well. So let's say that you're having a ribeye that has a marbling score of 5 to 6, compared to a ribeye that's BMS 10 to 12. What you're going to find is the 6 to 7. It's going to have a beefier taste to it. It's still going to have a melting sensation, whatever. But the BMS 10 to 12, the A5, is literally steak butter. It melts in your mouth. It's a different experience. It's rare. but it also has it also brings I would say a different palette to whatever it is that you're doing. In fact, you shouldn't even grill these A5 steaks because they're so fatty that once you put them in a grill, the fat will run down and basically just flames will be up, and most likely you'll burn the steak. So you want to use like a cast iron skillet or something like that. And again, I think for the price and the experience, I don't think I've ever met anybody that has A5 every day because it's just so rich.
Yeah.
And if you want to try it, usually you get a 10-ounce steak, 4 or 5 friends, and everybody grabs a piece. 1 to 2 ounces is what I say. It's something comfortable and good. But yeah, that's in a nutshell, what you will find when you're referring to BMS. And if you go to a restaurant and they say, yeah, we sell Kobe and we sell Kobe beef, whatever, if they don't tell you what the BMS is, you really don't know what you're buying, which is exactly what we do on the contrary. We try to be very educational in that sense because we want customers to experience and have fun with it and obviously find what their grading system or where in the grading system they like to do.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, because you folks were generous to send me a box with some different cuts, which I'm planning on getting into this weekend. But I absolutely dodged the bullet because whoever I was speaking to through Instagram. They're like, oh, we're going to ship it out, no problem. I'm like, hold on. I'm heading to Texas for 2 weeks. I'll be back the first week in October. And they're like, okay, we'll send it out October 6th, and it'll get there once you're back. Fantastic. So we're in, I don't know, Virginia. And I get the email that says the package is out for delivery. I'm like, oh, God, no. But lucky enough, my wife was able to get in touch with my neighbor who knew how to get into my house. So we saved all that beautiful goodness.
All right.
But
well, I'm happy to hear.
Yeah. But on the shipping aspect, that can get a little dicey. I've heard absolute horror stories. One in particular from my friend Mark Lambert from Sweet Swine of Mine out of Hernando, Mississippi. He had ordered a Wagyu brisket, and it was on the UPS truck. And obviously, down in Mississippi at the beginning of the summer, you got some pretty high temperatures going on there. So it had gotten missorted, so it was backed off like a day or two. So you had a Wagyu brisket sitting in a well over 100-degree UPS trailer.
So it was cooking in the truck.
It was cooking in the truck, but not in the way you wanted to. But yeah, they dropped it off. They actually delivered it. I guess they had to. But he goes, as soon as I got out of the car, all I got was the smell, and whoop, straight to the dumpster. And he goes, I had to get another one. But what are some of the logistics that you guys have to go through in shipping? I know that you guys had said, sent with it, a list of things that not to worry about, that if the meat had thawed but is still cold, that you guys had them vacuum sealed, that you can still put them right back into the freezer as long as it was still cold. What are some of the things you guys run into with shipping?
So the first thing is we use vacuum sealed packages, and I believe we might be the only or one of a handful of companies that are actually working with fresh inventory. So in the meat business, basically what happens is some companies might stock up during the slow months and then freeze the inventory and sell it throughout the year. It can happen. I don't know. I don't want to name names, but it is something that could happen. we don't do that. We actually work with fresh inventory, and we maintain a lean inventory that allows us to sell and send sort of, a fresh product to customers. Before we ship, we flash freeze every single item that we sell. So customers, it's better for the products to be maintained during transit. And then we use dry ice. We use special boxes. We figured out different techniques on how things can be better stored while in transit. So that side of things, our internal, I guess, process. It's something that I want to say perfection in the past, 18, 22 months. The challenge is obviously where it's going and the seasonality, right? Summer is a pain. And so one of the things that we've done from the get-go is work with shipping carriers very closely. So one of my business partners actually worked at UPS for a while, so he's actually had extremely good insights. And so we know how they operate, and we know what are the things we can do and things that we cannot do. So our shipping rates are based obviously on your location. It's not the same to ship to New York than to ship to California, shipping out of Florida. So the rates are going to be more expensive if we're going to the West Coast. And the idea behind what we want to do next is obviously improve that, because at some point we have to open some sort of facility in the Midwest or closer to the West Coast. But what we aim to do is to have packages in transit for no more than 3 days. 3 days. We've worked with our technique to make sure that at least 4 to 5 days things can be steady and work and be delivered perfectly. Most of the times, cuts can arrive not completely frozen. And that's one of the benefits of using vacuum seal, because you can actually freeze. If the cut is not completely frozen, you can still freeze it again. And then nothing's going to happen to it. The standard for the chiropract or the vacuum seal says that you can store this for months. And so that side of things it's an educational side of the business, because customers are like, hey, it's partially frozen. What do I do? Do I have to consume it in 24 hours? So we actually are very proactive with flyers and instructions when customers receive their orders on, hey, if it's partially frozen, no worries. You can still freeze it. If you have any problems, let us know. And if they do have a problem, there's a flyer where we say, hey, we'll take care of you. Just let's document and make sure that everything's fine, because it does happen. You're right, Johnny. Like if anything happens to UPS, which is usually a broken truck or a plane got delayed, whatever it is, and the item is in transit for more than 3 or 4 or 5 days, then you can run into issues. The other thing is that we do aim to ship from Monday through Thursday, and whenever we do work very closely on a zip code level for Saturday delivery, because not all of shipping carriers are working on during the weekend, or their coverage is not full. So what we try to avoid is running any risks of customers getting their order, possibly deliver over the weekend and then they don't get it until Monday, and that's another risk.
Yeah.
So obviously, it all gets better during the winter. But yes, the summer is challenging. I can tell you that. This year, we looked at less than 3% of problems, fortunately.
Oh, wow.
But again, it's that sort of knowledge of making sure that we're not doing any shipments on Thursdays that we know are not going to arrive over the weekend, and not playing any risk, and making sure that our processes are in place, our team is instructed, and they know exactly how to ship things, so that our customers can have their order in place.
Oh, fantastic. Let's see what we got here. Oh, there's Mrs. Maggs. Chris Rosinski, what's up, brother? Big Rome is in the house. Brother Alton, the dog father himself, making fun of my accent. Yes, I did say marbling. That's right. He says M-A-W-B-O-L-I.
That wasn't the right spell. It's more like M-A-H, right? Marbling.
My Texas boys, they're still learning how to spell my language. They're understanding my language.
Well, that's
but
enough for now.
That's it. The spelling it's all right. Mr. Clarence Joseph's in the house. What's up, Crawdaddy Chris? What's happening? Randy Salinas, Uncle Steve, what's going on? Actually, Chapin has a great question. With coming out of Miami, obviously, what happens with some of the orders you might ship out? Obviously, the hurricane season is upon us down that way. If you have a storm coming in, do you kind of reach out to the customer and say, hey, we're going to try, but with the hurricane coming, it could really mess things up. How do you approach that?
So, and then that is true. I mean, we just had a hurricane that impacted the west coast of the Florida West Coast, and it was massive. And we do have a big clientele on that side of the fence. It did affect some operations for shipping carriers, and essentially what we do is obviously we assess the situation as they come, and we do communicate with customers. Obviously, for some of the customers, some of the orders that we had that week, we were very proactive with our customers, letting them know, hey, we're not shipping your order this week, and we might hold on to it because we don't know what the status is. So, I mean, we pride ourselves on having a great customer service support, specifically because of this, right? Like the idea is we don't know if anybody had a major issue with their home and they might not even be able to have their order cooked.
Yeah.
Maybe their kitchen, something happened with the kitchen, they have no water, who knows? So fortunately enough, most of our customers were okay. We have an amazing customer that loves to do a lot of community events, and we actually partnered up a little bit with her because she was cooking for first responders in Fort Myers. And actually, we spoke last week, and she's getting her order delivered this week because they still had some trouble getting things in place last week, but she was expecting by this week it will be good, and I heard that things were great. So fortunately, there's gonna be some. She bought a bunch of pork butts from us. So there's gonna be some happy people having some pork butt, smoked pork butt at some point this week. Well deserved. So again, it's a process of making sure that our customer services team is in place. We obviously know all these orders are going to be shipping out to these affected areas. And we proactively have a conversation with the customer, and even if they want to cancel, we completely understand and we'll cancel the order. But for the most part, in this case, we didn't have major issues. I think as of last week, routes to Tampa and Fort Myers were resumed, not fully, but to Tampa completely resumed. But Fort Myers, still a work in progress. Customers that were affected were not a lot of. I mean, I was very fortunate to see that not a lot of them had major issues, and their orders were properly delivered the following week. But yeah, I mean, if it comes down to hurricane season and all this, our facilities can support hurricanes and everything. But yes, it would obviously, or most likely, can affect our shipping times. But yes, I think at that point it's all about customer service and being proactive with our customers.
Nice. Now, as far as like ordering the cuts, we'll stick with the basic ribeye. Do you guys cut like online orders? Can you cut to order? So I want a 2-inch thick ribeye. You know what I mean by that?
So most of our cuts have a steakhouse standard. They are over 1.5 inches, or for those cuts, like boneless ribeyes are obviously not as thick, but bone-in are massive. Our tomahawks are definitely over 2 inches or close to 2 inches, and our porterhouses are as well. So the idea behind it is, they are trimmed, and customers, are going to receive a product that's fully trimmed, ready to go, that sort of thing. We can make custom orders. Like we've had customers that have they wanted to have a tomahawks dry age for 100 days. So we just leave them in our dry age room for a little bit longer. We do 60 days normally. We've had customers that want a New York strip that's 2 inches stacked. We do need a couple of days to process, because basically we've standardized as an e-commerce business. We do have to standardize our cuts. So the idea behind it is, you want a ribeye, we have our spec. You're going to receive it. You can order it every Monday, and by Wednesday, if you want it on Wednesday, it will be delivered, and you'll get the exact same product. Obviously, no two cows are the same. They may have some differences, but in terms of the quality, the consistency, it will be there. If you want that ribeye to be more like bigger in thickness or whatever it is that you want, give it a couple of days, and we can make that custom order for you.
Perfect. So also going through the website, the one thing that definitely caught my eye, and is going to definitely pique the interest of some of the folks in this particular chat today, I know for sure, is you have a whole line of wild game of cuts, such as, I know Daddy Dutch is going to love this one, you have an elk rib pack. So French cut, nice. Beautiful. Elk meat is tremendous.
Johnny, you got a smoker, right?
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah, well, when are you making these elk ribs?
Oh. They're going to be on the list, but there's a certain lady in this chat that's gonna pump the brakes for me for a minute.
Right.
We just got back from Texas.
Now you got a smoker and can't afford any meat.
But that was one of your selections. But you also had alligator tenderloin, venison filet mignons, kangaroo burgers.
Ooh.
Yep.
And I know you had also had a whole array of different wild game sausages. Now, what is the process of getting that meat? Because that's not the regular, cattle farm. Well, I know down in Florida they have the alligator farms, but, as far as like the elk or the kangaroo for that matter, what goes into getting your hands on that?
So it's been a work in progress. We started to add game meats about close to 3 years ago, and the reality behind sourcing those meats is, obviously there's definitely a variety of game out there, and I think that what customers are looking for, from our perspective, is some of them want to try it, some of them want just to get something that they don't have to hunt, or they might not be in season, whatever it is, and they're very knowledgeable as far as game goes. So we've worked with several farms and programs. Most of them are in the U.S. for the game. 100% of all of them are animals that are most likely in private farms, but running in the wild. So the idea behind it is, you still get that gamey sense of it. But yes, it is. There's I don't want to say it's a control environment, because the animals are eating whatever it is that they're there, but they're coming from private resources that are obviously USDA inspected. We're able to ship, from state to state, whatever it is that's needed. It's been, as I said, it's been a work in progress. Some of them are in the Midwest, some of them are in the East Coast. As of now, in terms of getting access to them, we have them available, and it's been a great supply chain so far. Customers are able to get their elk rib racks every week, and we're happy with them. I can tell you, I've tasted it; it's amazing. Our elk filet mignon are phenomenal. I'm not really a game guy, but to be honest, I started trying them, and they're just, amazing.
Oh yeah.
Bison ribeye, it's a must as well. So
for sure.
Those ones I would say.
Yeah, because I know, like I said, I was just in town in Texas getting my new smoker, and we were going from Houston to Austin, and we saw a lot of the farms, I was with one of my sponsors, Uncle Steve. He was leading the way, so he'd call on the phone, hey, we're coming up on this place, look to the left. This guy has this farm that raises, bison. And you just come up on it, and there were hundreds of head of bison. So you basically went by a bison farm. And it was just wild to see. And like you were saying, that they're enclosed, but they're free roaming. There was trees, and they were eating the grass and everything. Free range, I think is the word I'm looking for. But it was just wild to see it. Then I saw on the website the wild game section. I'm like, oh, that's right up my alley. Because I am a huge fan of gator. It is delicious, many different ways. but yeah. Oh, so that's cool that it's rather, or has become a lot easier for you guys to come across that have that in stock. But
it's not simple or easy, and again, it comes down to a supply chain, making sure that this suppliers are honest farmers and making sure that the consistency is there, right? Like you can't sell a product that's going to change week over week. There will be differences, but as far as the quality goes, the practices that they use are consistent, and we can offer the customer something that they can rely on. I mean, if you like a steak so much that you want to have it every week, that's exactly what Meat and Bone is for. We want your experience to be great, or even greater, order over order. And in game, obviously, you have less room to I want to say manipulate, because again, they're still running in the wild. They're private farms and private properties. But yes, that's the goal, I would say.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we've been talking a lot about the online presence, but your brick and mortar stores themselves are absolutely gorgeous. The pictures I've seen, you guys did a lot of like designing. It's very welcoming. That it's not your the pictures I've seen. A lot of dark wood. You're not just walking into the tile everywhere where you can just run the mop and you're done.
No.
It's very a high-end look to it.
Now, Johnny, Chef Charlie and I are going to Miami in December. Does this need to be on the agenda?
I
see the stores.
I would say you and if you're
Charlie
going with Charlie,
you
definitely go and check these out. But by everything I could see, and like I said, by the way, Jonathan Carney, speaks so highly of you guys. You guys take pride in everything you do. You dot all the I's, cross all the T's on all aspects of it. And, how you were explaining the delivery process and everything, guys, you want to check them out, them out.
So can I get you to pack up a carry-on order for me that I can bring back with me? Oh,
you'll be surprised. It happens all the time. There's a lot of people that say, hey, can you put this in here? And I'm traveling. Listen, the craziest story was this lady that was going to India. And she wanted like 25 filet mignons. And we packed this all. And she was going to stop in London and then go all the way to like New Delhi or something like that. And I remember I emailed her because I was like, oh my God, I hope this arrived good. And she was like, look, it was in perfect shape. I was on the road for 2 days, a day and a half or so. And she enjoyed, Meat and Bone in India. I mean, probably the craziest thing, bro.
That is awesome.
And if you guys come down to Miami, we have 3 boutiques. There's one in Parkland, a little bit about 40, 50 minutes from Miami. But the Miami shops where we have our offices, we actually have a restaurant. It's called the Wagyu Bar. And it's precisely that. We wanted to offer a bunch of Wagyu without being fancy. It's a casual steakhouse. We wanted to focus on the food, not so much on the smoke and mirrors.
Yep.
So if you want to come and have some really good steak, it's just probably 10 feet away from our shop. So most of the people go to the restaurant and we tell them about the shop, and then they walk in and they're like, oh my God, it's exactly that. I wasn't expecting this. Or vice versa. They can come to the shop and they're like, oh my God, I'm hungry. I'm just going to have, a sandwich. And we've had some popular products. Like we have this dry aged Wagyu roast beef sandwich that's fire. So good that we actually sell the roast beef, the dry aged Wagyu roast beef on the side, vacuum sealed, sort of ready to go as well.
All right, I'm interested.
He had me a roast beef sandwich. Oh, that is awesome. So, Gabriel, where can everybody find you social media-wise, website, web address, all that good stuff?
Everything?
Yeah.
So, all things Meat and Bone. Our website is meat, M-E-A-T, the letter N, bone, B-O-N-E.com. And then our social media, you just search for Meat and Bone, M-E-A-T-N, B-O-N-E, and you'll find us.
And we've got the links in the show notes.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, Gabriel, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for Jonathan Carney when you're listening to this. I owe you, brother. We'll have next time you're up. We'll have a nice cigar, and I'll bring the bottle of Stag Leap, and we'll have a night for ourselves. But Gabriel, again, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking with you.
That was awesome.
If you ever have anything new going on there, we got each other's contacts now. So just hit me up. We'll get you on again for sure. I can't wait till this weekend to dig in to the cuts you guys so graciously sent me. They look fantastic. Man, they look like you can eat them, but they're frozen. The packaging is beautiful. Each package is labeled clear as can be. The Meat and Bone emblem with exactly what cut, the weight, the grade, the whole nine.
It's got it all.
They got it all. So great, awesome, sir. Thank you so much. And just hang on 1 second, and I'll jump right back in with you.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, Ed, you and Chef Charlie definitely gotta stop there on your way.
Oh, we'll be going there. I'll tell him to watch this, and then he's gonna want in.
Oh, and definitely drop a email to Mr. Carney.
I will.
To let him know when you're going to be there, because I'm sure he'll fit you guys in the schedule.
He's a very entertaining gentleman.
That is for sure. I got to have him on again. Just figure out when he's going to be back in town. We have not on a bone ourselves for a while, which I know that's always great listening. But that's it for this week, folks. We'd like to thank you all for joining us. Catch the audio wherever podcasts are found. Catch the video on Facebook and YouTube. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. You'll have all the episodes right there at your fingertips. On social media, find us at all the links down below. Questions and comments, please send them to pitlifebbqpodcast@gmail.com. And like always, subscribe, like, rate, and review. Hit that share button. Not exactly sure what's going on next week. I got a couple... I talked to a couple heavy hitters today, and they're going to look at their schedules, because November's coming up, and we all know how I run Christmas around here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to have a busy November. But yeah, we got a couple names, but I know C-Mac is just fresh off his Egg Fest trip along the East Coast himself, so we might have him in next week and talk about that wonderful experience. But thank you all for tuning in, and until next week, keep the smoke rolling.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.